Hi guys, my name is Vix and welcome back to my channel. We're doing something a bit different today. I've been noticing as I've gotten back into YouTube that editing hours and hours of footage just to go back and put voiceovers over everything is a pain and it takes a really long time. So I thought we'd try something different today and see if I can actually make the process more efficient and more engaging for you guys by being in the moment while I'm recording the voiceover with this little mic here. I am noticing as I start filming this that the solar panel gizmos in the garage where I currently am has a really loud buzzing sound, so hopefully you guys can't hear that. It may annoy the crap out of me, but hopefully it doesn't annoy you guys. Is it better than the birds? I'm not sure. But today I have a fun little project that I've been wanting to do for a little bit. Ido's dog bowls are aesthetically not very pleasing and I've been wanting to jazz them up for quite a while. I've seen a lot of products where there's like a dog bowl stand that they slide into little holes and it makes it easier for the dog to get to because they don't have to go down all the way. Kind of like that, but they're really expensive and they're not really made for the bowl size of a German Shepherd. So I thought we'd try making our own. And because nothing can be easy, I thought maybe we'd try and use some resin for it. So we'll see how this goes. So, I don't know, I might be being a bit ambitious. I've had this resin for a while and there's not a whole lot left. And I don't know if there's enough, but I'll show you the plan and we'll see how we go. See, the problem with filming stuff in the garage is always a mess. And I moved all the stuff from that set where the 3D printers are onto this table, which I now need. But, oh well. I'll just put it out of frame. You guys won't tell, will you? Alright, this paper's seen better days. But it's okay for plans. Alright, so, here's the plan. Alright, geometric shapes, let's go. So, this is what we're looking at. Some sort of, tabletop situation that has holes cut into it, and then the bowls sort of sit in those. So this is behind. We're also going to put some legs on it. I don't know what sort of legs. Joel suggested that I 3D print something again, something like with the wine box again. So I'm not sure what design we'll have there. But the important part is the top because that's where the resin's involved and where it's going to get complicated. So what I'm thinking is we cut some plywood to size. We cut out these holes. I'll have to measure them up in a second. And we're going to paint the plywood all black. So here's our plywood. We're then going to somehow make a really crude box around it. And we're going to do a layer of black resin. And I think that's going to make it look really professional and really nice. Problem is I don't have anything to polish the resin. So I think we'll do the black resin and then once that's all cured, we see if we can do a little pour of resin on top just to get it all smooth. I've done this before with that resin table I made. The other option is that we just do a clear coat of something like this, which I use for a lot of my resin prints to make them look nice and shiny and finished, but it may not work over this large surface. The problem with doing this resin top, as in the resin top coat, the clear resin on top, is that we don't have a lot of resin. The other problem is making these sides. I'm not sure how I want to do that. Resin has a tendency to leak, and we have some really nice gym mats all over this floor at the moment. I don't want to leak resin all over them. So maybe I can 3D print some sides, maybe I can find some plastic to put there, or even just some more pieces of plywood. We got a lot of scraps, but I'm not sure. Because the other tricky part about doing this resin pour is that we have these holes, right? So I have to build up some sort of wall around them too. Sorry, something like that. So that the resin doesn't fall out. So I think what we're going to start with is cutting out that plywood. And the very first step of that is working out how big these should be. So let's go measure the bowls. Alright, I've stolen one of Ido's bowls. I think what we'll do first is just measure it. I'm trying to think whether I want this to sit flat so it like hooks on here, because these do have a little ridge on them, so that could be nice. But that also means I need to get the measurements perfect. And I don't know how to do that. So if we did have it sit flush, maybe we can start with the measurement of like, let's have a look. Is there an easy way to measure this? Probably not. We could start with a measurement of about, let's say 23, because that's sort of, you know, giving me a bit of leeway there. So we do 23 diameter, and that means it's going to slot in really nicely and just sit like that. And we should have some wriggle room if we need to sand the edges to get it to fit better. Okay, let's do that. The other thing is, how far apart do we want them to be? I think I need to grab the plywood to work that out. Annoyingly, the plywood is all the way back here. And this is just the thin stuff. Okay. There's so much stuff here. That was a lot harder to do than expected. And it's also not the thickness I thought it was. I'm gonna steal this piece of wood too. So, looks like there's gonna be an additional step. This is the really thin plywood we used as a veneer for the wine box. And I thought it was, well, I thought there was at least one piece of the typical stuff, one big piece at least, that has like this many layers going on. And it's basically one of these lines. So, I think what we'll have to do is maybe make 2 of these and layer them on top of each other to give it some extra support, which is not what I wanted to do, but I'm just looking around the garage and I'm not seeing anything else I can do. I guess the other option is see if we can 3D print something, but I was kind of aiming to just use the plywood. I don't like using 3D printing for everything because I think it makes it less accessible for other people to do, even though 3D printing is becoming more prevalent. But as soon as you got a project where you have to 3D print, or you have to like 3D model something to 3D print, it just, yeah, it raises the bar for people. And that kind of sucks. So I'm wondering how I can do this, because the plan of this project, as the plan is for most of my projects, is to try and use what I already have. Makes it a lot cheaper and a lot more worth it. The other thing is my 3D printer only has a print build of like 300 by 300 millimeters. So that's not going to be big enough for this, given that the bowl itself is like, I think we said we needed 23. I should have written that down. Let's write it down. So I think what we'll start with is we'll map it out on this, and then we can at least have a design and see how big it's going to be. And from there we work out, like we cut it out and we work out if we need to do 2 of them to just get the thickness right. But yeah, ideally you'd have the thicker plywood and that would be your base, but I don't have that apparently. So that's annoying. There's so much wood in here and there's just nothing that's what I need. Okay, let's have a look. I've been trying to set the camera up in a way that I can see what you guys can see. I usually like to have like a mirror behind it, but that was unsuccessful. So hopefully you guys can see what I'm doing. So there's our first bowl. I don't feel like we need a lot of space around it. The thing I need to think about is we have these little buttons that my brother and his girlfriend bought us for the dog, where like she taps on them and it says a sound. And I'm not sure if I want to allow for space on here, or if it'll be easier for her if those buttons are on the ground. I'm not sure, but let's have a look at this anyway. Maybe if we allowed for space on the side, or like here. Let me grab one of those buttons. Because that way if I allow for space, then at least I have the option. So if we have a clearance of 90 centimeters on the edges, it'll be good. Is this square? Probably not. Should you guys square it? Yes. Will I square it? Probably not. There's probably a smart way to do this, but I don't know what that smart way is. And it's probably like a proper calculation you're supposed to do, so you can get it perfect, but I don't know what that is. Let me show you in a diagram in case you got no idea what I just did and you can't see it. So here's our drawing. Essentially what I've done is I've said, all right, we know the bowl is going to be 23 centimeters from here to here. And originally I thought we needed 9 centimeters, but we actually need 13 centimeters to give allowance for the button to sit here. And that way the button can sit here or here, wherever I want. That's not a very good circle, is it? That also meant we wanted 13 clearance over here. And then when I solved that, I worked out that this here was 34 centimeters. And because I didn't do a perfect 45 degrees here, we ended up with 36 centimeters here. Then all I had to do was mirror on the other side. And then your whole thing is basically 34. Math is hard, 72. And that's the rectangle. You know your midway point, because that's 36. And we also know where the edges need to be, because it's 13 on either side. And that'll be the same here too. Hopefully. And that should show us where the circle should be. The tricky part now though is marking out the circle, and I think I'm gonna cheat and just mark out the rim of this, and when we go to cut it out properly, we're just gonna take some off. Now I don't know where the midpoint of this is, so I'm eyeballing this. And I think dealing with circles is like the most annoying thing when it comes to DIY. But I don't know how to do it, and there's probably tools you can use if you're more trained and cleverer than me. But I reckon that worked alright actually. Hang on, let's do some measurements real quick. Hang on, it's about 5. That's also about 5. It's about 6, which is as expected. And so is that. Yeah, hell yeah, alright, we did it. The only problem with doing these like live voiceovers is that I have to remind myself not to swear, and it's really hard. There's a couple of places where you're going to see skips, and it's because I swore and then I had to go back. There's one just then. Now, looking at how I've set this up, when I put this on, it's going to be like here, right? But I think that looks odd, having this much space. You guys can't see it, but there's a lot of space here compared to here. And I think I want to have this much space in between here. Yeah, so we're going to shorten everything by, I assume, 6 centimeters. Yep, 6 centimeters. So it's actually going to come to there. So let's shorten everything. I'm a very visual person, so I much prefer laying stuff out on the wood and then making adjustments. So 6 centimeters. This is not very accurate, but it's okay. 'Cause again, we're aiming to have fun rather than be accurate. It's got to be, there's a fine line. It's got to be good enough so that I get Joel's approval for whatever this is. Because he is definitely a perfectionist and everything has to be perfect. Which is a very good quality to have as a creative person, but it's also very detrimental. But that means that he's basically quality assurance. So if I am not reaching for those expectations, I know I've probably been too lazy. And I can put some more effort into it. Alright, so then we have our dots. We can put this on. I just need to remember when we're cutting, I need to be in a bit. Oh god, why is it so hard to line up? If I make it to these dimensions, the bowl's going to slip right through. We don't want that. We want it to sit in it. Oh yeah, that's nicer. That's good. I like that. That's how they'll sit in. Now looking at this, what's the measurement there? We can actually measure this. Let's have a look. It's about 4 millimeters. So we want to come in like this far. I haven't really decided how I'm going to cut this out yet. I think I might drill in a couple of places, and then we've got a particular saw for the job. I don't know what it's called though. I also have some hand tools that Joel got me recently, some hand saws. So maybe there's something there that'll work for this. So that was probably the most planning I've done in a while for a project. Or at least the most measurements. I guess now we'll get to cutting. Cool. I will give her balls back there. Let's do that.
Water.
Can't forget the safety gear, of course. Alright. And those ones. I don't think I've shown you guys what Joel and I built recently. We started building this before I went back to YouTube, and we just finished it the other weekend. But we needed gym mirrors and also storage. So we came up with these. It's just basically a frame with some sliding doors on top, but really cool, really effective. But we're gonna get the sawhorses out for today. One thing I'm not a fan of is how we store these. They're just a little bit tricky to get out, but they do the job. So I need to find the right saw for the job, and the problem is there's 2 bags it could be in, and they're both really high compared to me. Of course, make sure you do the stuff in a well-ventilated area. I feel really weird talking out here. Hope the neighbors can't hear me. Also, there's been sections where I think the mic cut out, so I may need to backfill some stuff. I feel like I mention this every time I do a project like this. But I really want a table saw. I just feel like it would make it so much easier and so much more fun. Alright, hopefully I can see the lines well enough about the glasses, because we're going to put the safety gear on now. And actually I should probably tie my hair back, so I'm going to go back inside and do that real quick. Really weird walking around without my glasses though. I feel like everything's just slightly further away than it should be. Feeling a bit weird. I feel like we're missing something. Oh, clamps. We need clamps. Let's grab those. Hope you guys are getting decent audio, because I can't tell. And I'm probably going to record all of this before I test it. I don't know how I want to cut this. Like, what's the best way to cut this so that we get rid of the excess and have an easier time with the other cuts? That'll work, because then we only have to deal with a small piece instead of a huge piece. Because then we can just go back and trim off the little bits in the end. That'll work. So we're going to start with this one. Definitely came out too far on this side, but that's okay, we can set that back. And now, we should have a much smaller piece to work with. Oh, I missed like the tiniest bit. There we go. Hey look, I didn't get the part with the sticker. Excellent. You guys missed the wine box video. Those stickers drove me nuts. They're really hard to get off, but I ended up not having to deal with them, so it was fine. So the next thing we need to work out is how we're going to cut these. I have a few options. I think the first thing I want to do is drill some holes. And then maybe we can find a jigsaw or something that's going to be able to join those holes. So let's go find a drill. You know, I have no idea what drill bit size is going to work best for this. But I think the fun thing about these projects sometimes is just working it out. Obviously it's good if you already know what to do, but I don't know, they're like little puzzles to me. That doesn't feel like we have enough strength. I think we're going to use the other sawhorse as well. So I can see where my marks are. So we're going to do a bit out from there. Oh yeah, that worked pretty well. Sometimes if you have a drill bit that's too big, it won't drill, but I guess this is really thin stuff. But to make it easier on me, we may need to make some more drills, some more holes, sorry. I think I can eye how far away it needs to be now. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect, it's just got to be able to slot the bowl in. As long as we don't go out to that line, it's not going to fall in. And if we don't cut off enough, then we can just go back and cut off some more, or sand it off. Maybe we can use the Dremel again for this. I'm starting to feel like I'm making a crochet wheel or something. I don't know what a crochet wheel is. My friend Nene would know. But like, you know those things where you can put the wool in or something and you can weave shapes out of these? I think you use them to make beanies or something. Maybe that's knitting. I'm not very good at knitting. My nan was very good at knitting. She thought it was a bit silly that I wasn't very good at it. But that's okay, because she still showed me how to do it. I've knitted one thing in my life. Well, probably a few things, but one thing to completion. And that was a scarf, and Joel still wears that scarf. So I reckon I've accomplished knitting. I can tick that off the list. Don't have to do it again. My nan was there. I don't know if it's knitting or crocheting, like where the line is, but she used to knit like toy animals and stuff. So I had knitted dinosaurs, and I even had some knitted Pokemon. I think she knitted Shaman, which is really cool. I think my parents still got it somewhere. I'll have to go find it at some point. So now I think what we want to do is just cut all these out. I'm gonna try it with the hand tools, and then we'll go from there. Well, but I can already see a problem with this, and that's that we can only go as far as the edge. So maybe this tool won't work. We might need to use a power tool. I've got a few options. I'm actually thinking we use the same tools that we used on the wine box. So I do have a jigsaw, but I don't know if it's gonna wreck it. I'm really worried about that. Whereas if I just use this, we could just like cut straight lines and then clean it up with the Dremel. And I think I feel a bit more confident and safer doing that. I think it's less likely to screw it up. But I guess we just have to try it and see what works. So my plan is we just go straight down and we cut straight across and then we clean it up. Yeah, okay, I'm ready to go stuff it up. How do I do this? I don't know how to hold this. I feel like I'm not holding it the right way because of the direction that we're dealing with here. Hey, that worked pretty well. We'll just do that. If you want to see how you're supposed to do this, don't watch my channel. This is just me figuring out and having some fun. This works. It's definitely not how you're supposed to do it. But it's working, because I can clean that up real easy. And I kind of want to use the Dremel again anyway. That was fun. You guys have still got sound, right? Yeah, sweet. Tell you what, having a microphone stop working mid-recording is the most annoying thing, and that's why I usually do the voiceovers, because then I can ensure the quality. Because if you lose footage during a project like this, you can't exactly undo the project. But I kind of like this. I feel like you guys are seeing what really happens during these projects instead of a curated view. That's more fun. They get you more excited to try it for yourself and fail and try and fail and try, you know? Like that spot where I kept skipping it, but it's okay because we've got a lot of clearance and that's going to disappear anyway. Little tip I have about these things when you don't know what you're doing. If something's too hard to do, you're probably doing it the wrong way. Like if you can't get a screw in, maybe you need to drill the hole bigger. If you can't cut something properly, maybe using the wrong tool or the wrong angle or something. It saved me a lot of frustration. While this may not be the perfect tool for the job, it's kind of the right tool for me. I'm confident with this one now. I wouldn't be confident with the jigsaw and I end up breaking something. I know that even if I stuff this up like the skip I did there, it's not too much of an issue. Yeah, there's one done. I also feel like I'm going to have like 10 times more footage to edit because I have dialogue that I need to sort through. Yeah, it'll be fine. There's the second one. Cool. So the next part I want to do is, I got like a little Dremel tool that I can use to sand all this down. And it cuts through it like butter. So I think I want to use that to clean all this up. The only problem is it's corded and I don't think I have a PowerPoint out here. Although I do have an extension cord. I'm just going to turn my greenhouses off for a second. These are actually old aquariums. They work really well for growing plants. I actually thought I had to get a box down from a height to find the Dremel, but then I realized that was just the box that the Dremel came in. And the Dremel was actually sitting on the wall. Alright. That'll work. So, same as we did the wine box. Just gonna adjust this a bit better. I really need to get more clamps. Keep forgetting that's a thing I need. Same as we did with the wine box. We're gonna use this little sanding bit, which I might need to replace, but we'll see how it goes for today, to just slowly chip away at all this. Might put a bit of an angle on this too. Did alright. Tried to smooth it up at the end there. We may need to use a proper, like, some sandpaper to smooth that out properly, but it's looking pretty good. Alright, I think we'll do a test fit and see where we're at. Because this one's definitely a lot closer to the 4mm than this one. I don't know if that's a good thing or not. I don't think Ido's appreciating me stealing her bowls all the time, but it's a very good course. Now, I actually think that one might be... Oh, look at that! Perfect! Alright. A little bit of wiggle room, but that's okay, because we're going to get some resin there too. Same with that one. That's pretty good, guys. I'm quite happy with that. So I got two options for how to move on. The first is we can paint all this now, and then work out how we're going to do the box. And the second is we start doing the box now, and then paint it all at once. I think I might paint it now. I feel like that's going to be easier. Alright, gotta stay hydrated. So I've got a few options for how I can paint it. We can stain it with the black Japan stain I have. But I don't have a whole lot of this, and you're not really going to see the wood too much once it's done. So I feel like that's off the table. Also got some leftover paint from the wardrobe that we made in the garage, that mirror thing I showed you before. But I don't think this was closed properly. Yeah, that kind of feels like it's stuck. And it also doesn't feel like there's a lot in here either. Don't know what other paint we have lying around. But the third option is I use spray paint. And for this sort of project, I usually wouldn't use spray paint because it just gets everywhere. But I think that's going to be the way to do it because it's the only one I have a lot of. I think this is where we're at. We'll have to do this outside for the ventilation. And I think we have some scrap boxes. Not sponsored, but I mean, if you guys want to sponsor me, please do. I love your meals. But we've got some cardboard boxes I can use to put around the setup so we don't get spray paint all over the asphalt. I think this will be the way to do it. Alright, back outside. Tell you what though, guys. I know I started this back up again in January, where it's Australian summer. But I swear, every time I try to do a DIY video, it's been quite hot. And it's not too bad today. It's 26 degrees. But it's like, I could really do with a mild autumn day right about now for these projects. This is the most sad looking 80 grit sandpaper I have, but it'll do the job. You know, now that I'm here, maybe it is worth giving it a quick sand. I don't want to, but definitely should have got better sandpaper if I'm going to do this seriously. I was thinking of 3D printing some things to prop up items for painting, but I never got around to it. Alright, the position I'm standing in, the wind is blowing it onto me, so let's go here. These sides might end up getting covered, but just in case they don't. Oh no, the wind blew all the sawdust onto it. Okay. You know what, this is the underside, it doesn't matter. Maybe we'll bring this inside, hey? Alright, that's a good idea. Let's bring it inside. So I think what we'll do is we'll basically tape all the edges up. I don't know what tape's gonna work. I've got some plumbing tape that's supposed to be waterproof. I have some electrical tape. Yeah, not sure. I'll get to that once the paint's dry. But I think we'll just tape up all the edges and then pour the resin. I am wondering if I need to sort of waterproof the wood The paint we've used is a primer, but I do have like some Plasti Dip that might work better. That means we have to wait longer for that to dry. And I kind of want to get the resin poured today because it's going to take 24 hours and it's a long weekend. So I have tomorrow to work on this as well because it's currently Sunday. So I'm not sure. And I don't think I can decide until the paint's dry and I can actually start trying things. I also feel like I'm going to use this as a set more. I'll put my logo somewhere on it. I know it's on my chest right now. Also, shameless plug, we have merch. But, I don't know, I feel like maybe it needs a permanent spot somewhere in the background. We'll see. A lot of stuff to think about. But now, we just have to wait for the paint. So, I'm gonna put my phone on charge. And we'll see where we're at in like an hour. Hi guys, welcome back. So, off camera I went and spray painted the other side, so both sides are now painted. And it's not perfectly dry, but it's pretty close. So I think I can start thinking about how I'm going to stop the resin from pouring over the edges, and maybe we can actually pour the resin pretty soon. First off though, I'm getting pretty tired, so I think I'm gonna go make a cup of tea, and then by the time I've made that, we can get to work. No, it's way too hot. Okay, let's put that aside for now. So, I think what I'm going to do first is go find the tarps and set up a bit of a work area before I start working out how the hell I'm going to pour the resin and not have it leak everywhere. Yeah, let's do that first. Okay, I'm going to set it up here. I don't want to set it up outside because if it rains, I'm screwed, and it might rain. If I put it here, there's hopefully a decent chance that it's not going to get in the way of the gym. Hopefully. So I found one of the tarps outside, so we're going to lay that down first and hope that... Is this folded in half or is this as big as it is? I'm going to have to find another tarp. Damn it, I just closed the garage door too. In any case, we're going to put a tarp down and hope that that's enough to stop any resin that does pour out from actually making a mess of the ground. Okay, that's basically what I need. We'll set it all up and hope and pray that it's level. And by hope and pray that it's level, I mean we are actually going to level it. The problem with this angle is I can't see the camera, so I don't know if I'm in view. Hopefully I am. But I mentioned before, we have a couple of options when it comes to keeping this resin in. This is the plumbing tape that I got for the axolotl aquarium that I didn't end up using. I think it's overkill for this, but it would be waterproof. And otherwise I've just got what I assume is electrical tape, which I've used before for a couple of things. Haven't used it like this. I think I'm gonna try it with this tape and then see. But I feel like what I'll have to do is tape it up so that we're gonna stop the resin from leaking out. And then we'll just do like a really small pour, just to sort of seal it up a bit. If that works, we'll do the rest of it. Hopefully. Can I enjoy my tea now? Is it still too hot? Oh, it's still a bit hot. Alright, let's get to taping. There is most definitely a better way to do this, because this is annoying and difficult and has a small chance of success. But I don't know what a better solution would be, so we're going to stick with it. It's going to be really difficult to get this tape to be straight, right? Which was the whole point of using the extra plywood to begin with to make a box. But now that I've come this far, I don't want to backtrack and make the box. What have I got? Okay, I got lots of random pieces of material to try. I think the first thing is to see whether we can use this scrap plywood to sort of build up the edges. And I mean, we have heaps of scrap wood, I just don't really want to accidentally get resin on it. Like this stuff, I don't care if it gets resin on it, but some of the stuff there would be preferred if it didn't get resin on it. We're going to put the wood on the inside like this, and bear with me, there is a method to the madness, like that. Nope, we're going to pre-wrap it. Problem for future me is I don't think I have enough of these pieces. that is problem for future me. Right, and that can just go over there. And that's like one part of our box. This might work. Now, the resin is going to take on the appearance of this tape. I don't know if that's good or bad. I hope it ends up looking fine, but it might not. So we may need to do some finishing after this. I'm probably going to time lapse this because it's going to take some time. I am definitely wondering now why I decided to try and turn this into a resin project, because resin is just, it's such a pain. You know, if I was smart, I probably would have used this to make a silicone mold and then made it all out of resin, but I'm not that smart. So what we're going to do is try and use the UV resin to cure the corners, basically. Kind of like a silicone. I don't know how well this is going to work. I'm hoping it works really well. Might need a stronger light. We're going to move this over. So this contraption here is what I use to cure my UV resin prints, and I reckon we can use it here. Does this mean we're going to get a weird edge? Probably. But at this point I'm happy to just have this not leak. So we got like this stuff, which I could probably lay out and then tape. That might be the way to do it. Circles are going to be a lot harder to tape up, so we're just going to do our best and see what happens. I think if we keep at it how we have been, it might actually work. I'm feeling a lot more confident now. I think what I'd probably do next time is just give in and 3D print some sides or something. But I didn't feel like wasting filament and wasting time when I want to try and get this done as soon as possible. Or at least get the resin poured as soon as possible. So we're just gonna try and put that on the edge, which is proving to be a bit difficult, but we'll get there. Because the tape is just sticking to itself because there's tape on the base of this, which like is kind of what we want, but then it's a pain to put it in the right position. Oh yeah, there we go, that's better. The reason I'm using resin instead of something like hot glue is hopefully you won't be able to see this resin very well once it's done. Whereas the hot glue, of course, it's just going to melt and cause problems. If I was doing the outside, I'd consider using hot glue. But not for the inside, we want this to merge. I'm going to use this cardboard again. If it fits, it might not. Yeah, kind of works. This is the resin we're using. It's Crystal Cast by Aldex Molds. Have a look at it there. I've used this in the past a lot. I really like it. It sets really clear. So it's got a pot life of 40 minutes. So we've got 40 minutes to work on it, and then we gotta wait 24, 48 hours. We also don't have mold release. Don't know if we'll need it. We'll find out. The way I tend to measure these, which isn't a good way to do it, but we're gonna do it anyway, is to just use these as a guide. So we know we need double this than that. These aren't gonna be big enough, but I don't think I have a choice in the matter. I got nothing else to put them in. Yeah, I don't have anything else to put them in. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, we might need to do like a couple of pours to get this right. We are going to be using Pearl-Ex Carbon Black for this one. So basically I'm going to be using these as like a measuring cup, which is not a good way to do it. So what I'm doing is basically making sure that each of these is the same height. Once they're all looking the same, I'm going to pour them all together. Typically I would have warmed these up first. I haven't this time, but this is like the very first layer. So it should be quite thin, and hopefully we don't get too many bubbles from doing it this way. We're going to mix it first and then put the pigment in. So that way we can see when we're done. So if you have a look here, you might see, you may not be able to see it with the camera, but there's like little striations. We want to mix it until it's all gone. So you might be able to see now. This is gonna take a while. I feel like if I warmed this up, it would have been easier. We'll warm it up next time, I think. It's looking pretty good. A lot of bubbles. Otherwise, pretty good. So I'm gonna put some of this in. I usually go with like a quarter of a teaspoon for most of my projects with this stuff, but even that I feel like could be a bit too much because this black is pretty potent. Make sure you're doing this in a well ventilated space. This stuff is pretty nasty. Moment of truth. Will this leak? I don't know. Maybe we're gonna need to make about 3 of these. Alright, let's get back to mixing. You guys can watch that. Also, I did ask Joel if he'd prefer all black or like a galaxy, and he opted for all black, which I definitely agree with now. At the time I was like, oh no, I don't get to make a fun galaxy. But I think it's gonna look so much nicer, so much more polished, and so much more professional. In any case, we've done a galaxy table before. Tried to be ambitious and do a really large cup, and it just made it so much harder to mix it, so don't do that. It's annoying. I don't even know if this is enough. I think I need another. I'm starting to think maybe I just do the full thing. Let's get some light on this and we'll see where we're at. Okay, I feel like I need to like mix some of these areas a bit more. That was good. Alright, let's try again. This is a very thin layer, which we knew it was going to be. This is doing some cool stuff though. Let's try and do pretty swirls so it cures nicely. Yeah, that took about 20 minutes, which is pretty good. Quite happy with that. Definitely should have warmed this up beforehand. Hopefully we don't get too many bubbles. I think because it's a thin layer, we might get away with it. Could also do this with a heat gun. I don't have a heat gun. Hairdryer might work, but sometimes it blows the resin pattern around. It's just a dot right in the center. I don't know what it is. Probably a piece of sawdust. Can I like take it out or bury it? Oh, I probably don't want to bury it because it might come back. There we go. Got it. Alright, over the next 20 minutes I might come back and pop some more because there's a lot of bubbles that are coming up. I'm trying not to burn the resin too. It's looking good though. Good effort. And we've done well too because my phone literally has 16% battery now, so just in time. So, this is sort of the progress on this. It's been 2 hours maybe. We've lost most of the pattern. There's a couple of bits of like petri dish stuff going on. A bit hard to see though. There we go. But really good, not many bubbles. And no leaks so far. So yeah, we also got some approval from Joel. He said that he liked the mold. Sadly didn't get that on camera. But if we've got Joel's approval for whatever the hell this mess is, we must have done something right. So we'll check back maybe later tonight, maybe tomorrow, see how it is. You want to know what's funny? This has been sitting here for maybe 2-3 hours now, and the YouTube algorithm decided to show me a bunch of like resin table builds, and now I know how I should have made the mold. Oh well, this worked. It's still curing. It's looking good. We'll see how it goes. Also, I'm definitely adding it to my shopping list to get mold release because I have no idea if this is going to come out cleanly or not. I suspect not. So yeah. So it's next morning and we're getting started real early because we have some things we need to cut outside today and it's expected to get to 40 degrees Celsius. Of course it is. So the resin's been curing overnight and it's looking really good actually. I'm quite surprised. We didn't have any leaks, which is absolutely astounding. But it's still got a while to go before it's ready to be removed from the mold. So we're going to move on to the next thing, which is the legs. And I think I've come up with a design that we can quickly cut up and get ready to go before it gets too hot outside. So let me show you what I'm thinking. So I think the plan is instead of legs like this, we're going to do those modern looking ones that sort of look like that. So we're going to end up with the table on top and these like this. I don't know if we're going to do the top piece because you're not going to see it, But in any case, we're going to cut out some pieces of wood to basically make that sort of design. Got a bunch of this plywood lying around, which wasn't big enough for the top, but I think it's the perfect size for the legs. So we're going to cut this to size and assemble it. I'll tell you what, I was really tempted to 3D print, but decided this might be a bit nicer and a bit easier too, actually. Alright, let's go cut these out before it gets too hot to do this. My usual workbench has a bunch of stuff on it, so I think we'll work on this. My plan is to just use my typical woodworking glue for this, and we're just gonna like basically do that. Might also just put like a nail in there, although it might split the wood. So the smallest nail I have is like this, which is way too long in my opinion. So I think we'll just glue it, hope for the best. We're also gonna spray paint this the same color as the base of the table, I think. Please. Oh, we had this issue last time, didn't we? Yeah, probably should have done the other side first. Or at least put all the glue down first. Put all the tape down first, sorry. Yeah, that's gonna happen. Alright, it's fine. We'll learn our lesson. Gotta do both sides at the same time. Also not sure the top piece of the table is actually strong enough, so we might need to put some supports in later. Sort of just assembling pieces I will likely need so that when the resin's actually cured, I can put it together and see what we've got. They're not very exciting legs, but it's a pretty simple table, so I don't think it needs to be particularly exciting. So off camera I've just spray painted these. They're not feeling very strong, so we may need to look at a different solution for the legs. But I'm getting a bit impatient with this, and I think I can probably try to start taking off some of these supports. Still got maybe another 2 hours, we'll say. Looks like we had some sort of leakage underneath. I'm not sure if that's paint or if it's resin. Oh, this middle section is going to come off real easy. Let's get that off first, I think. So you can see UV resin still slightly uncured in areas, which is rather interesting. I wish I used hairspray or something. I learned after this project that you can use hairspray as mold release. That would have been great. Definitely needs to sit a bit longer because it's still malleable. Like I can move this. This is so thin though. We're definitely gonna need to brace it. I'll have to have a look at bracing it in a second. Oh, there we go. Maybe we'll try that technique again. Yeah, okay, well that came off really easy if I did that. Cool. Alright, so there's that. I'm gonna let that cure a bit longer. I was gonna use the saw to go at this, but maybe we'll just use the Dremel. And it's definitely gonna need some sort of bracing, so I'm gonna wash my hands and then we'll look at how we can brace it. I'm thinking the same material we use for the legs. Maybe if we can put one here, or even just around the whole thing, and then one in the center. So I can't currently tell if the top is buckling because the resin's not fully cured, or if it's buckling because it's just so thin. And I suspect it's because it's so thin. So I need to work out how to brace it from underneath. I'm thinking I basically build a box. I still have a bunch of scrap plywood lying around the place, but it's all like annoying sizes, which is frustrating. If I had more of these long ones, maybe. Let's have a look. This is basically long enough to do like a cross beam. Maybe I'll cut it up, see what we've got, see what I can do once the resin's fully cured. It does mean going out and cutting things in the heat again though, which I'm not looking forward to. I don't want to do that. If only I had some strips already cut up. So, through the power of editing, because it is way too hot outside for me to spend more time out there than I need to, I've quickly gone and chopped these up. They're not all the same size, but no one's really going to see it. Kind of thinking I might start gluing this down now to really brace it before the resin sets. So off camera I just gave them a real quick spray paint. because I realized, well, once they're on here, I'm not going to want to spray paint them because I'll screw up the resin. So what I need to do is essentially lay these out, and the paint's not dry, so I might end up with paint all over my fingers. Put the glue on, and then we're going to put that on top, essentially. So that one, that's probably the good side like that. So we're going to really like line these up on the edges. We might move this temporarily. Oh, actually we can put it on top. So, okay. So what are we looking at here? That's going to go to the end. That's going to go too far. So what we might do is do these side pieces first, then do the end pieces because we need to trim those a little bit. If I could take this, please. Come on, glue of all the times that take forever to come out. Come on, come on, come on. Ah, I got glue everywhere. Come on. Yeah, that's fine. We'll do it this way. Come on. It's so hot. The glue is not really coming out anymore. There we go. Time. Oh, so now you're coming out when I'm not even using it. God damn it. Come on. I think they're lined up. Cool. Alright. So, I do want to put in a piece there. I think I'm just going to hand saw that real quick. Made a little bit of a mess of it, but that's fine. Alright, that'll slot in there. So let's put some glue on that. Now it wants to come out smoothly. Now that we're almost done. Okay. Yes, we probably want to put one in the middle, but for now I just want lunch. So I think we're going to just glue this, let it all dry, let it all cure. And then we'll check in on it later tonight and see if we can finish it off or not. Alright, let's make sure it's all lined up and then we'll leave it. Okay. As you can see, off camera, I have been very busy. I ended up adding some screws to the legs because they just weren't staying on. I didn't have enough super glue to do the job. I've given everything another sand. I've gone around with the black spray paint to cover up any exposed wood. And I've also done a single coat of like a gloss top coat on top to see how it goes with the resin. We'll let this all dry. We'll do a couple more top coats, but otherwise we're pretty much done and on to the final touches.
Well guys, this dog bowl holder is all finished and ready to go. But we just need one more thing. We need to go get some approval from Ido and see if she likes it. So let's go.
Tasty.
Well guys, you made it to the end of the video. You did make it. Thank you so much for being here. This project was a handful. Even though it's a bit messy and rough around the edges, I think it turned out great. I'm really happy with it, and Ido seems to like it too. Or maybe she just likes the treats that I keep bribing her with. But if you guys did enjoy this video, please don't forget to like and subscribe. I do a lot of these chaotic things. They're a lot of fun. They don't always turn out the best, but they're fun. So guys, I hope you have a wonderful night or day, wherever it is you may be, and I will catch you all in the next video. Bye guys! Oh, you want kisses? Oh my goodness. No, stinky dog breath. Yeah!